Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mega Maker. During the last part, I covered 5 levels that I found on Twitter using the Mega Maker hashtag, so in this part, I'll be covering at least 5 or 6 viewer-submitted levels, starting out with this one, Submarine Base Infiltration MKII by DerelictAllstar, 24 plays and a score of 5. And I already have played DerelictAllstar's levels back 2 parts ago in the last viewer submitted part, and their levels are pretty good, so let's see how this stacks up to the rest. Now, DerelictAllstar does have about 3 levels on the queue, but I moved one of them from this part over to the next viewer submitted level submission, just to showcase a level from another author. Might as well see different styles. As usual, if you want one of your levels to be featured in a part like this one, please leave the level name or preferably the level ID in the comment section below or direct message me on Twitter. And as always, the full disclaimer of this entire LP series is linked in the description below. Also in the description, I'll leave timestamps for each of the 6 levels covered here. Okay, we're getting introduced to all these enemies in a safe environment, with the hoppers and that copter or rolling enemy. Now we're introduced to this crazy cannon in a safe environment. Well, mostly safe environment behind the waterfall. And now we have tougher configurations of these enemies, because now we're facing the hoppers and the copter enemies over a bottomless pit. It's a nice challenge progression there, I suppose. Definitely getting a little bit harder, because now we have these 1 block jumps. Just take it nice and slow and you'll be able to get by it pretty fast. Plus I have the Mega Man 4 charge shot, so even if it's a bit shorter, I can at least not worry about it dissipating. I have the quick boomerang, charge slide, or charge kick, and silver tomahawk. The charge kick will definitely be useful in areas like this one, that's for sure. And now we're delving deep into the submarine, I suppose. A mixture of enemies, but they're introduced in relatively safer environments, so I won't be complaining about that. That's definitely a plus. And now we delve into the water. That's a pretty big entrance, one of the biggest entrances in Mega Maker I've seen. And the whole thing doesn't open up. I'm a little bit disappointed there. And now we have spike challenges. I guess we're under the water and we need to visit the submarine somehow. Or get up to the submarine. So I suppose this is like the chamber or the dockyard that houses the submarine. Do we have alternate pathways? I guess we do. Let me take the upper pathway and see what it has to offer. Oh, it's just an M tank. I was expecting there to be an entirely separate route, but this works too. As I said before, that was my fault. I should have paid attention to where the spikes were. As I said before, I believe that E and M tanks should be a little bit harder to get, unless there's a significant challenge coming up or the developer wants to be a bit nice. That way it feels like there's some sort of challenge you get for getting the E and M tank, and they should be in more out-of-place areas, or should I say alternate pathways like that one. So more props to the developer on that one. I could have done that myself without actually using the charge kick, but better safe than sorry. And there's the submarine, I suppose. I would have preferred a different tile set, but Mega Maker has a limited set of tiles, so this is the best they can do. And it's pretty accurate anyway. The previous screen introduced us to the Super Ball Cannon, now it's introducing us to the Tadahos, those pop-up cannons, and now we have a combination of the Pukapellis and these. So more difficult configurations of enemies. It's definitely the trademark style of DerelictAllstar. And now we're entering the submarine proper, I suppose. Yep, we are. And this is the engine room, I suppose. And now we're introduced to these techs in a safer environment. I was about to say Beck over there. And checkpoint placement is on the good side. More frequent than the classic Mega Man games, but still in appropriate times at the end of each challenge or at the beginning of each challenge. And we were introduced to how the electric blocks work in an earlier segment where we were traveling over the checkpoint. And there are several areas where you can actually bypass challenges if you're skilled enough, like this, for example. Now with that, I don't need to worry about jumping on the right side of the screen, so props to the developer for adding that option too, for more skilled players. Let's see what the goodies the upper route has to offer, other than ramming right into the Ben K's whatever that spear is, I suppose. Jump over the lyrics, more of these. The bottom route is the harder route actually because we have all those big eyes, not to mention the spikes. Okay, now we're introduced to these rollers in a less safe environment, but it's fine if you take it slow and steady, I suppose. And we already were introduced to the Skeleton Joes anyway. Gosh, I really need to set a button mashing key or button on my controller, especially for these more durable enemies. I'll probably do this in between this and the next part, assuming I can get Joy to Key working properly, or Auto Hotkey or X-Patter. See, now we have a combination of the lyrics, Super Ball Cannons, and the Crystal Joes. And now the Caterpillars, so the number of enemy-based challenges is increasing and being varied up, so I do approve of that. And now we have these Crystal Joes actually have a guard in the way of all these count bombs, so they are protected in that way. And I guess we finished the mission and we're at the boss fight against Sparkman. Pretty nice overall stage. It felt like a traditional Mega Man level, although a little bit harder. A mixture of a machine and a water-based Mega Man stage. I failed to use it properly. So overall, pretty nice stage for the aforementioned reasons. Nice challenge progression, and nice enemy introduction, combination, and progression. If anything, this stage felt more like an enemy-based challenge, and the environment took a back seat, the environmental platforming. But other than that, I quite enjoyed the stage. So the next stage is also by DerelictAllstar, so we should be seeing a similar design style, which is Creature Feature Mach 2, 42 plays and a score of 12. Based off the title, I suppose this will be a more enemy-based challenge or a forest-based one, whereas the previous one was a water/structure-based challenge, or machine center or something. I'll need to formally define how I define each of the Mega Man archetypal levels in a future part, so I can better explain what I'm looking for. Oh neat, we have a crab over here. And we have the Magnet Missile, Metal Blade, Pharaoh Shot, Windstorm. That's a neat pattern, actually. Is the stage going to consist of all of these different sea creatures or creatures built out of the tile set based off of this with different tiles indicating different creatures? I guess so. This is a whale based off the spout we're jumping on. If there's one thing I know about this stage, it feels a lot more like a aesthetically based one, based off the creature gimmicks. I mean the creature designs. This is a turtle. This is a snake. I don't know if it's actually a snake there. If this was Magmal 2, if I used the charge shot there, it would have destroyed those tadpoles as well. Good checkpoint placement. Because this is an easier stage, we can put the checkpoints a little bit further away. Currently, I like the previous stage more than this one, because it felt like it was focusing more on enemy and environmental challenges, more enemy-based ones. But But this one I like more aesthetically, especially because of all the different creatures that were made out of the tile set. But still, enemies and gimmicks are being introduced in a safe enough fashion. Mostly enemies though, I haven't seen a gimmick yet. I don't want to take any chances with these spikes. Okay, now we're traveling downward with all these shield attackers. And really guarded enemies, and the Hammer Joes, I mean. I would have utilized the magnet missile more if it actually had more life energy, I mean weapon energy. Otherwise it kind of feels wasteful, and I want to save it for the boss fight, because I'm not sure what Plant Man's weakness is yet. At least there's a lot of weapon restores here. Really, I take back my earlier statement in a part, several parts ago I believe. The weapon I'm using the least in this LP is the Pharaoh Shot. It just feels like it takes too long to charge up, and because of its weapon energy, I don't really like using it outside of weakness affiliations. It still has more weapon energy than the magnet missile though, so it's better in that regard. And it deals more damage per shot, especially when you use the charge shot ability. Now we need to climb up and down through these footholders. Fair enough, and now we're moving on to a different segment where there should be a checkpoint. Oh goody, ice physics. Are each of these environments based off of the sea creatures we saw earlier? I mean the creatures? If so, that's another extra good touch. No thank you, I'm just taking the easy route there. Okay, it shoots 3 times. I still get hit because of ice physics. And now we have a conveyor belt, where we introduce the hothead. Actually, because the conveyor belt is pushing us backward, it makes it easier to face the hothead, mainly because the hothead will fire at your current position, and if you're pushed backwards, it'll be harder to get hit by it. I sort of recognize what this creature is, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's a mechanical whale. Oh neat, it's the Proton Bomb Challenge from Gemini Pharaoh Mach 2. Although a bit easier here. I'm just damage boosting off of here because the Hammer Joes are rather weak in terms of contact damage. Now I have to climb up these corridors. I wonder what creature this one is too. Looks neat. Overall, I say this is definitely a more aesthetically pleasing level than the previous one. And I like the previous one more, but still this is fine. The challenges are being introduced in a fair enough fashion, and the enemies aren't that bad either, for the most part. That hothead placement is rather annoying, but you can get by using the Mega Buster only if you attack fast enough. Or rather, if you react fast enough. And you can reset the room if you want. Oh. I need to take a moment to size up this room. I need to get up all the way there so I don't want to destroy the ground. But I need to worry about all of these... well... oh, with that enemy over there. Not to mention we have all these tellies. So forced weapon usage, we go. Although it isn't that bad either, anyway. Because we have all these tellies and I have the I have the metal blade. The only thing I have to worry about is dying, of course. I should have thought about this earlier. That being actually using the metal blade and attack from above. Hopefully there's a checkpoint nearby because I'm really low on health. But that was a clever challenge. You're forced to use special weapons, I think. No, you're not forced to use it because you can get to the other side and just use the Mega Buster. But using special weapons does make the challenge a bit easier. Really would have liked the health pickup over there. Well, at least the hothead can't hit me over there. That's a plus. Again, can you please move? It's not going to target the hothead, of course. Well, plan B, I suppose. Metal Blade time. That's another reason why I don't like the Magnet Missile. It deals too low damage for the amount of energy it uses, and its detection of firing at enemies or locking out enemies feels a bit too weak. It really needs a weapon energy buff, or a damage buff. Oh, that was close. Oh, this is solid. I thought it wasn't solid. And I don't have an E-Tank either, so I guess I'll have to resort to special weapons in order to survive. Wait a minute. I didn't realize there was a ceiling still active over there. This time I decided to just damage boost to the room, and lo and behold the checkpoint was right over here. That is a more difficult room, but if you have enough Magnet Missile energy you can get by it. But the Magnet Missile has the same aforementioned issues I mentioned before, which kinda bring it down, and so you're more forced to use the Metal Blade in order to get by it. Or if you just use the Mega Buster, you have to take it really slowly. But alas, at least the checkpoint was right over here. Time to fight Plant Man and... oh goody. These platforms are gonna make this a lot harder. Especially with all the bouncing around. Yeah, it's gonna be really hard to dodge where Plant Man's going. Okay, I can't get bounced into the spikes. This may take one or two more attempts, but this really puts a new spin to the Plant Man encounter. And there's always some weapon pickups here, so I can rely on... I can't hit him twice. It just takes a little while to understand what his pattern is. There we go. That was the end of Creature Feature Mach 4. It started out easier than Submarine Base, but quickly became harder once we got on that segment with the ladder and Hothead, who can knock you off that part, and especially at the part where we had to descend that tree of sorts, and culminating with that more difficult boss fight against Plant Man. You can do all of those Buster only, but they're a lot more difficult to do. Still, it felt like a more difficult traditional Mega Man level, so good work, DerelictAllstar. Third on the lineup is Skill Test Flying to the Boss by Pirata Patheta with 16 plays and a score of 1. I suppose we'll have access to NATO. No, we have Charge Kick and Star Crash, so this is going to be another skill test, meaning me to get through this stage as quickly as possible while surviving. Or rather, we're going to have a whole bunch of challenges that we need to persevere through. I'm not going to risk taking that M-Tank just now. Well, I can actually. By doing stuff like this. I completely forgot there was a platform over there, it just skipped my eye. But I can go back over there and get the M-Tank. I really want to get the M-Tank, for obvious reasons. Can I get back there without dying? Yes, I can. And we need to go back here anyway because that footholder decides to just disappear. Thankfully, there is a large weapon drop here, oh my goodness. These jumps are really scary. Didn't quite time it right. At least there's a checkpoint at the beginning of each segment. That I do approve of. I really need to understand the timing there, because once I disable the star crash, I'll drop like a rock. This is not the fault of you, Pirata. This is the fault of the engine not deciding when to activate properly. Now it decided to work, even though I pressed it several times before. A little bit close over there, but there's always a checkpoint, so bravo. Is there something supposed to be there? I don't know why we need the large weapon pickup over there, but okay. Oh, I guess if you accidentally throw the star crash at something, you need that. Like so. Fair enough, I suppose. Almost made it there. At least I feel most of the problems or failures I'm having are the engine's trouble or my own, not the level designers. There we go. And I want that E-tank too, so... Well, I didn't realize I could make it back, so that's nice. And now we have the boss fight after about 3 segments of that challenge. But of course his weakness is the... Star Crash, I suppose? No? How do you do this? I get the feeling I'm missing something. Hold on. I think I need to slide down on that thing, and that'll take me to the correct way of fighting the boss. Maybe I don't need to use the charge kick over there. That's what screwed me up. I keep getting taken over here and I'm stuck. I can't fight the boss properly. The stage. What just happened there? I did Star Crash, I activated it, and I jumped up there. I didn't expect that to happen. Is that an engine bug? Well, now we have to go down here and hopefully not get killed by anything. Gotta be a little bit careful with our Star Crash energy though. But I know Fairman is weak against the charge kick. Okay then, that was an odd glitch. Maybe that's how the developer actually beat the boss. Well, it's a good thing I got the E-tank then, because it seems that Fairman is not weak against the charge kick. But at least he's not immune against it. And using the charge kick grants me immunity to his projectiles. So I can do stuff like that. Please jump. Thank you. Jump over here, please. And that was the end of skill test flying to the boss. Although it should be more like charge kicking and star crashing or space jumping to the boss. With the title like that, I was thinking it was NATO. Still, it was a nice challenge slash special weapons oriented stage. There were some odd bugs with my jump inputs dropping in that one segment, as well as the boss fight glitching out and somehow being able to super jump with the star crash there. But other than those blemishes, I liked the stage. Good work, Pirata. Fourth on the lineup is Shortcut That by Panta35. 18 plays and a score of -1. I wonder if this has something to do with dying and using it to advance to the next shortcut or something, or should I say checkpoint. Whole bunch of special weapons, a little bit of a medium length stage though. I wonder why it would had a negative score though. Too bad in this engine I can't actually see all the upvotes and downvotes. That would be super helpful for seeing how controversial a stage is, or how well received it is. At least we have the Mega Man 5 charge, so that should go a long way. We have a lot of these enemies. Let's kill off all of these and... Oh neat, now we have to jump on all these Sparkman platforms. Nothing too problematic. Pretty easy here. Gotta be a little bit careful here so I don't fail completely like I did here. I held left this time, so there was no problems for that regard. I'm damage boosting a little bit too much there. Oh, and that's a little bit more of a hint because there's spikes over there. We can't reach that. Let's hold up. Okay, we're fighting these sets of enemies again. I wonder if there's a large trick about this stage I'm missing. Never mind, I was worried we're gonna have repeats of the same room over and over. I should be utilizing the plant barrier more. Oh boy, forced usage of the windstorm. This is gonna be interesting. I wanted to collect an M-tank, so I will take the dead over there. After all, the checkpoint is right over here, and I was low on health anyway. I'm not sure how devious the boss fight will be, so better safe than sorry. And there are large weapon pickups over there in case you run out of weapon energy. That was foolish of me, I should have noticed it in the first attempt. So even if you run out of energy for the windstorm or whatever, you'll always have enough pickups to restore up to full. There are 4 of them after all. But let's see how difficult this segment is. I'm getting the feeling why this stage is called Shortcut Det. Because that's around every corner. Not to mention there's spikes everywhere. I'm not gonna risk it, I'm not taking that E-tank. I'm just going directly towards the boss shutters. Good checkpoint placement, especially because this is a more difficult stage. I get the feeling that each of these gimmicks are going to be utilizing each of the different special weapons that we have at our disposal. Okay, more windstorm stuff. Well, we can actually skip most of these challenges as long as we use the windstorm to jump. Well, I don't really see much of the dead of this stage outside the beginning portions. Well, I think I know why it's called dead over here. All of the bottomless pits and instant death spikes. Alas, I passed the hardest part of the room. That one jump cost me 12 lives. It's so precise and you actually have to use the windstorm to get there. But due to the aforementioned engine precision issues affecting my jump height, that took so many attempts. The previous part of the room was fine. But let's see how more difficult this stage becomes. That's one of the reasons why I don't like to play windstorm stages with a lot of precision in this engine. If only this was another engine. Or the issues were fixed. And now we have another segment filled with a lot of different enemies. Nothing too bad so far. I'm not gonna risk using that, especially with all my bad experiences. Even with the engine precision issues, I would rather just use the windstorm. It's so much more precise. The one definite benefit of this stage is the fact there's a lot of large weapon energy drops everywhere. Never mind, that jump didn't actually require the usage of the windstorm. I guess me dying at that one spot over 12 times colored my judgment here. And there's a checkpoint over here, good job, and now we have to face these really durable enemies. Thankfully we do have the crash bombs, but I'm gonna conserve it for the boss fight. Again, now the mag missile's tracking is really inconsistent too. It should guide onto that one. Why isn't it working now? Well, at least I have the Surf Snake. Hopefully this stage comes to a close soon. It's been filled with a lot of debt. I guess that's why it's called debt, or shortcut debt. I'm not sure what the shortcut is though. I only saw one or two shortcuts at the beginning of the stage, and they all but vanished here. Now we have the Super Ball Cannons. Well, at least there was some leeway in the fact that some of those count bombs actually had 6 instead of 1 on them. So we had some safe places to stay. And the checkpoint placement is getting more frequent too. I'm really hoping that I'm getting near the boss fight soon. This stage is getting a bit on the tiresome side. It's not bad, per se, it's just tiring. And now Magnet Missile works for this enemy. Why didn't it work for the bigger enemy there? I was expecting that to happen. In these types of stages, the easiest route or quickest one never really works in your favor. Close one there. Oh, and that was just an M tank. I was hoping that was an E tank. And we're coming up to the boss fight, I hope. As I've repeatedly stated about this stage, one of the big benefits is the checkpoint placement, although I want one or two of them in one of those segments. And the frequent large energy drops at the beginning of each of these sections, so you can't get stuck, thankfully. Or soft locked, I mean. Alas, the boss fight against Napalm Man, who's bouncing, and all of those caterpillars. Unfortunately, he keeps blocking my shots. I can't deflect it. What is his weakness then? Oh, of course, it's Wind Tornado. Fitting, because that's a special weapon you use the most in the stage. Well, by standing here we completely destroy the challenge of this boss fight, because even his explosions can't actually reach us for some reason. Well, overall, I would say that Shortcut Debt was a more challenging special weapon focused stage that focused more on usage of the Windstorm. That caused some problems near the middle of the stage with that precise jump, but I do enjoy the fact that every time we had these sections at the beginning at each checkpoint, there was always several large life pickups or large energy pickups, so it was not possible of getting soft locked. It's definitely a stage that's designed for more skilled play, but I still enjoyed it even though I died at least 1.5 dozen times, so good work, Panta. Fifth on the lineup is Cyber Course by Meccirius, 38 plays and a score of 6. They also mentioned that this is a longer level of theirs, so let's see how far it goes. And let's hope that the gimmicks are utilized in a good enough fashion, and the stage is still maintained to be interesting near the end. As I find a lot of longer stages in Mega Maker or even Mega Man in general, they don't really utilize their gimmicks in a good fashion even at the end. They keep rehashing the same gimmicks over and over and repeat the same challenges. Let's hope that Meccirius can overcome that issue. I know they did it the last time. Okay, we have the Magnet Beam as well. We're introduced to these platforms, the Concrete Man ones, I believe. Or did the ones from Mega Man 3? I really need to double check that. Jumped right into that one. At least the enemies and gimmicks are being introduced in safe environments, and now they're being introduced in more dangerous environments. It's just me who's a bit screwing up with ordering, or reacting. Although I would have preferred finding the Crazy Cannon first here than in the earlier room. This and the second and first stage I suppose are trying to be more like traditional Mega Man levels. Whereas the third stage was much more of or should I say the third and fourth stage were more gimmick-based stages. The first and second were the actual traditional Mega Man levels, so I'll see if this is also a traditional one. Traditional meaning that you can get by it just by using the Mega Buster. And the special weapons are just there for some extra goodies or alternate pathways. But we'll see about that. We're introduced to Yoko blocks here. I'm gonna wait for the Yoko block to spawn back over here because I want to see what goodies are over there. Oh, of course, I need it actually. If I waited a little bit longer, I think I could have gotten that E-tank. I believe the stage isn't that bad. Meccirius' stages are never really that difficult, so I don't need to worry about dying to boss fights or something. Well, that's one way of despawning Big Eyes. It just poofed out of existence. Well, I'm not complaining on that. By taking that teleporter, all those enemies respawn for some reason. I didn't even switch the rooms around. Strange. Now we're introduced to all these teleporters, I suppose. In a safe enough environment, now it's gonna get a lot more dangerous. Because I don't want to have to deal with that Picket Man in a harder fashion. Gotta be a little bit careful here, but it's not too bad. Easy button. At least Meccirius gave us the option to fight the Picket Man in an easier fashion. Or at least gave us the option to, but we can also do it Buster only, it's not too frustrating. Okay, here's where it gets a lot more dangerous, especially with the Yoko blocks suspended over the spawnless pit. I was really lucky over there. I thought I was gonna fall into the abyss. I'm not taking any chances here with the drop. I'll wait for the Yoko block to spawn over here. We were first introduced on those Yoko blocks on the safe ground. Now it's in a lot more dangerous environment over the spawnless pit. But it's thankfully not too difficult either. As long as you get the hang of the pattern, it's fine. And the pattern's a lot more on the fair side after all. I don't really see any jerk moves with the positioning. As in, none of the Yoko blocks are actually suspended directly over Mega Man, like one directly over the other. And we don't need to do any dangerous jumps either. Overall, the stage feels like it's a nice jog, a little bit more in the average length, or average stage difficulty of a Mega Man level. It is a bit longer, but it's fine. Really the main gimmicks I've seen about this stage are these Concrete Man platforms, as I'll call them here, the Picket Man, the Yoko blocks, as well as the teleporters. And the checkpoint placement is fine as well. Whoa, that was scary. This would have telefragged me if I wasn't careful. Like so. If this was another engine like Magmal 2, it would have just pushed me out. Or if it was an actual Mega Man title, it would have also just pushed me out instead of insta-gipped me. That's good to know. Darn, that's the only safe area. At least there's a checkpoint nearby because Meccirius knew that players would die repeatedly on this. Of course, there's the easy button for this one too. There, no worries. At least that introduces a new, interesting challenge. If anything, those could be replaced with Yoko spikes and you have the same effect. Hopefully the rest of the rooms don't actually have it in the unfortunate locations. Oh, they do. How joyful. Oh yeah, Meccirius did mention during their introduction or the explanation of this part, or explanation of level, once you come up to the red beams, stop. Or come with the room with the red colored platforms here, stop, and wait for all the Yoko blocks to spawn, like here for example. Now I understand what they meant by it. I'm just gonna stay on the ladders because I don't think Yoko blocks can spawn and insta-gippe you right on the ladders itself. But anytime there's a room with those red bars, I need to be careful so I don't get insta-gipped by it. Well, that's one way of going through there. I see the flash stopper symbol over there. I'm a little bit scared what that means. I get the feeling there's an extra goodie over here, so... that's what they meant by that. Hopefully I have enough weapon energy to get by this challenge. I believe this is forced weapon usage, but I'm not sure. Phew, I thought I was gonna get insta-gipped over there. And we get an M-tank for our exploits, once I get up there, of course. The trade-off was well worth it, that's for sure. I gotta be a little careful though, especially in the rooms to come, because I don't have any special weapon energy left for that flash stopper. Ow, that was my fault. That was scary too. Any one hit can actually kill me if I'm not careful. At least the checkpoint is right over here, and I will utilize it immediately. If anything, this stage really well utilized the Yoku blocks in a new fashion, being both in the traditional fashion where you have to wait for the pattern and then progress, and then used as an insta-gipping option where you have to be careful in the red rooms so you don't get crushed by them. That's a neat way of using the Yoku blocks implementation in this engine. And now time to fight Sparkman. Okay, his weakness is the shine, which I never used in this stage. That was Cyber Course. It was certainly a longer stage. Maybe a little bit too long, but I don't feel it's outstay its welcome for me, but it may for other people. Really, the main things that make this stage shine for me are the Yoku block segments, the ones with the traditional ones, and the more insta-gibby ones, sort of like the Yoku spikes. And also, the teleporter gimmick was pretty fun, the gimmicks were varied, and the stage felt nice, although it would be a little bit better if it focused on a more cohesive set of gimmicks. Still, I enjoyed this. Good work, Meccirius. Sixth and final level of this part is Sparkman Reimagined by DoctorLumen, 17 plays and a score of 6. I believe I have enough time to cover a 6th level, so I will do it. And if it's a longer part, so be it, it'll be an extended part. Based off of the level author's description when they submitted this level in the comments, this is a reimagining of the original Sparkman stage as well as the Doc Robot version of this stage, a combination of the two. And we only have a Mega Buster, Rush Coil, and Metal Blade, so I suppose it's gonna be like the traditional Doc Robot stage. Oh, and Mega Man 3 physics, fitting. But of course, unlike the Doc Robot stages, we don't have access to all the Mega Man 3 special weapons. So we should be able to get by just by using our Mega Buster. But we have the stuff like the Metal Blade to deal with these more annoying enemies. After all, this and the previous level were doable using just a Mega Buster. Same with DerelictAllstar stages in this part. The only two stages that required usage of special weapons were Skill Test and Shortcut Det. Well, there was that one optional screen or section in Meccirius' level, that being Cyber Course, which did force you to use the Flash Stopper, but I think you can get by it without even using the Flash Stopper if you're good enough. That's also an optional pathway, so I won't count it against the stage. Optional pathways in Mega Man stages, they can force you to utilize special weapons. After all, they are optional. And now we have the Sparkman platforms, of course, this is Sparkman's stage. A little bit more difficult though because we have the Leg Beam traps here. That went a lot more swimmingly than I expected, especially with my experiences with this. Here we would have a mini-boss encounter against the Doc Robot Master, but of course we don't have mini-bosses in this engine, so instead we have two gumball machines. Until mini-bosses are added to this engine, I don't really see a way around it other than adding a lot of durable enemies. I won't fault DoctorLumen for this. Down we go. We have a spike drop. Although I wish they were segmented into individual segments, like in the original Mega Man 3, because we didn't have vertical drops in Mega Man 3. I mean contiguous vertical drops where we didn't have any screen transitions. That would have made it a little bit easier, but it's fine. I would have also preferred if the checkpoint was actually after the boss fight, or mini-boss fight, but I suppose this works too. And there was a checkpoint right here, so it works out. And now we have all the Sparkman junk blocks. They're introduced in a safe enough fashion, and we need to clear our way through it in order to survive. Or proceed onwards. Kind of repeating the same challenge over here. Would have preferred if the elevations were a little bit changed. Also, I totally forgot I had Rush Coil here. Oh goody, Picketman. That's it, I'm just damage boosting. Okay, you're forced to use special weapons in order to proceed here because you can't fire downwards. So Metal Blade time it is. To be fair, in the Doc Roadmaster stages, you did have access to special weapons, and some did force you to use special weapons in order to progress. Like that one Rush Jet segment at the end of... I forget which Doc Roadmaster stage that was. And I forgot how Sparkman platforms worked over there. That's a massive brain fart on my part. At least the checkpoint was right over there. Too close for comfort. And remember, the Sparkman platforms ignore invulnerability frames if you get crushed against the ceiling. So getting hit by those elect beam traps is basically a death sentence. Alas, it's time to fight Sparkman. Unfortunately, he's about the same difficulty as he was before. Thankfully, his weakness is the Metal Blade. Overall, this was a pretty nice rendition of the Sparkman stage, the original combined with the Doc Robot Master encounter. Although, I wish the original stage, or this stage, actually had the capability to have mini-bosses, but the engine doesn't support it. So overall, I enjoyed it. So based off of all 6 levels I played in this part, my favorite would be Submarine Base Infiltration MKII, with an honorable mention going to Cybercourse. I already talked about Submarine Base, how I like the difficulty progression, enemy progression, challenge progression, etc. And Cybercourse for being an overall nicely designed stage. Even though it didn't have the same level of quality challenge progression as DerelictAllstar stage did, it still utilized its challenges and enemies in fair enough fashion, and it wasn't that difficult. So in the next part, I'll be covering at least 5 or 6 levels from the Mega Maker official forum's level sharing subforum. Well then, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Toodles!